Government. And I'm going to begin, actually, as I intend to carry on, to say that the value of arts to New Zealand society is critically important for the well-being of people and communities. And I have to say, for the first time ever, we've got a Minister of the Arts who does love the arts at the moment, and I'll give him that. But no way can he match the calibre of the Prime Minister, who over 9 years put in an arts recovery package after the previous government, National Party was in, who spent nothing, who never understood the economic value of the arts, let alone the social well-being of the arts. And Helen Clark said the Prime Minister is going to lead an arts recovery in this country, and she did. And she went around the country and met every group, not just the elite. She met the many involved in the arts, not just the few elite, and got a resurgence of the arts in this country. Mr Speaker, we are going to support this bill to Select Committee, but with reservations. And I heard the previous speaker talking about streamlining. This isn't about streamlining bureaucracy. I think it's offensive, actually, Mr Hayes, to say that Alistair Carruthers, who's the chair of the Arts Council, Dame Judith Binney, Helen Kedgley, Professor John Davidson, Eda Mahenari, Anne Rush and Jimmy Wallace are bureaucracy being streamlined. That's how little that member understands about the arts in New Zealand society. Arts, Mr Speaker, are the soul of the country. They do reflect our unique identity, and they're also about how we express and reflect ourselves as New Zealanders, and we all value that, everybody in this House. And our cultural diversity in our country is the driver of social and cultural capital, and we understand that economic value now because of research done about the values of arts to the society. We value any changes, structural changes, that will give efficiency. But I feel that this bill will marginalise input into this newly structured council, because what was once a pipeline of applications into Creative New Zealand has been narrowed to a little straw. And so the arts community, the arts developers, the artisans and the artistes of this country have very little say through to what the previous speaker says is a streamlining of bureaucracy of arts funding in this country. What nonsense. What we want in this country, and you've carried over, the Minister has carried over everything that was in the previous bill about the value of arts to New Zealand and the purposes of Creative New Zealand. What he's done is rationalise board membership and replaced the Arts Council, which we know as Creative New Zealand. It was a seven-member council. It was a council of 27, and it goes to 7 with 2 arts boards. Now, this is the offensive bit. Te Whakatoi, which was a fine brand in New Zealand, no longer exists. And that is offensive. It's as offensive as having Maori representation on the super city in Auckland. Te Whakatoi, as we know it, as every community in the regions of New Zealand, no longer exists. And do you know what? Those members, the 7 members of Te Whakatoi, are now replaced by 4 Maori members on the Arts Council. 4. So 7 having their own board now, answering to huge funding. In fact, in the last 3 months, $600,000 worth of funding going out to dance, going out to literature, to moving image, to visual arts, is now going to be managed by only 7 members on this new council. And I know that those voices are going to be marginalised. There is no way that 4 Māori members that were 7 on Te Whakatoi, now 4 on the new board, can ever represent the diversity and the demand that is coming from the growing arts community of Māori. Also, the Pacific Council goes. The Pacific Council goes, gone. Where are Pacific voices on this new council? Where are they? And where is the ethnic representation on this new council? Not stipulated at all. And yet we have a government talking about growing diversity in the ethnic communities. Where are they stipulated as being represented on this new council? They're not, Mr Chair, and that is worrying to many in New Zealand. And I think taking away that brand of Te Waka Toi and the Pacific Committee is simply offensive for a $200,000 gain per annum, a $200,000 gain. And let's just remind that member opposite that this minister has only just held arts funding, just held it, no new funding, held arts funding. So with CPI adjustment, he hasn't done as well as you think. It's actually gone backwards. So I think we're going to be, think this rationalisation of membership is going to marginalise people on the margins in the arts who were seeing under Labor that they had a voice. Outside of art felt they had a place. Where now will we see Arts Access Aotearoa, the Arts Alliance, mental health providers providing wonderful programs for people recovering from mental health conditions and illnesses that use arts as an outlet for their recovery? Where are children's art houses going to get funding? Where will those little NGOs in the arts community, like the brass bands, like the recreational organisations, like the spinners and weavers, do you think, does the government think that their voices are going to be heard on this council? No, it marginalises arts access for the community. And it turns New Zealand art lovers just into an audience and takes away their right to participate creatively. There's another little aspect about this bill. That's worrying. The Minister doesn't require a strategic plan of this new organisation, the Arts Council of New Zealand. No strategic plan, only a statement of intent, which means do my bidding. This is my bidding with the bit of funding that you get, and he did well to get the same level of funding actually for the Arts Council. Do my bidding, but don't develop a strategic plan for the country or the arts community in New Zealand. Don't bother with that. So he's done away with a strategic plan which gives some certainty to organisations like children's art houses, like Arts Alliance, like those marginalised arts groups that can get a voice in the current council. So this function, the functions in this, yes, actually they did. Yes, they did. I think that member did. No, it didn't. The functions, Mr Speaker, are carried over from the old Act.
Point of order. Tim McIntyre.
The Deputy Leader of the Opposition has just made a suggestion or an insinuation that I take personal offence to. It is completely unfounded, and I ask her to withdraw and apologise.
Was such a comment made? Well, I just say, members, it's not appropriate to make comments about people having had a drink or have another drink, which is what I heard. Now, the member will withdraw and apologise.
I withdraw and apologise. Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order. The Honourable.
I would ask you, Mr Speaker, to take account of the fact that that member has had a barrage of abuse and what I'd consider not the truth about the previous Labor Party policy across this side of the House. And maybe when he's doing that, he might consider that he'll get something back.
I'll take Tim.
Speaker, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition is aware of the fact that I have been in the House for most of this evening. Therefore, the suggestion that I may have been drinking is absolute rubbish. My interjections during the course of the Speaker who was sitting beside her have been based on the fact that I consider the contribution she has been making is completely wrong, and that I'm inviting the Labor Party to go and look at the facts of where the funding went under the Labor...
Order. That's a debatable point. Now, firstly, the member was okay up until he started to go over the point that I'd ruled on. The member sought an apology, withdraw an apology. I granted that. Now, the member is not entitled to go back over that ground again. Let's be very clear on that. can I say to the Honourable Annette King, if in fact the member finds the interjections from this side as objectionable, well then the member should take a point of order on that. And let's recall